But you had real fears because you were homeless for a while. I mean,
Yeah, but by choice.
Yeah.
And I always tell this story with a perspective of this was my choice. My family has always been extremely generous. I was broke in Los Angeles. I went to school for 4 years. I got my piece of paper that says you're certified in movement studies, kinesiology. I tried to move out to the Mecca of fitness, Venice, to apply that degree. Eventually, my long-term goal was to get on with an equipment company like Cybex or Life Fitness or Precor, sell equipment for them because that's what I knew. I had ideas on how to make equipment better. You know, none of that shit worked.
Wow.
I couldn't land a job. I ended up bouncing at a bar, and then I ended up working at Gold's Gym.
What's it like bouncing in a bar? I mean, do you have to kick dudes' asses? I mean, I imagine when someone's...
So I was always dead sober. Like I had my first drink at 26. So I was 250 pounds. You know, I could move and handle myself, and I was, you know, Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse sober. So a lot of people that bring themselves to start violence in a bar are so drunk anyway.
Yeah.
They're just not fast. So yes, there were fights all the time, but it's like a drunken fight isn't an octagon fight.
Right.
Trust me, I was a bouncer in Hermosa Beach. I wasn't a bouncer in like some seedy places. I also don't want to paint the picture of like, I was the bouncer at Roadhouse where every day they're throwing bottles at the band and they have to stand behind the chicken wire and all that.
You were winning the tough guy competition at that point.
Not at all. It was a beach bar, so people would get hammered, but everybody was in like beachy vibes. So it wasn't a tumultuous place at all.
Was it fun back in those days?
It was super fun, man. It was, and I'm out in California trying to make it work. It's why I lived in my car, because I didn't want to go home. So a lot of people are like, man, I got evicted and my family had no money and we had no place to stay, so I was homeless. Like I had a choice of go home to home or stay out in the sun, working night shift hours where I have the days to myself. I have a part-time job at the gym. They let me train for free. And I have a locker room upstairs where I can shower. I'll sleep in the back of this Lincoln for a little bit.
And you're saving money, no rent.
Saving money. So, so that was absolutely by choice.
I mean,
and I was happy. I was genuinely happy. Like it was a great, I look back on those times, that was simpler times back then, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if someone says to you, go clean the toilets at Gold's Gym, you're like, yeah, sure, why not?
Been there, done that.
Yeah, right. Fuck it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Doesn't that make you strong, too, that even when you go into wrestling and you go into movie acting and everything, in the back of your mind, you know, you say to yourself, if the shit hits the fan, I can always support myself.
That's still there for some reason. Of like, man, if it's a fucking disaster and the shit hits the fan, I can always go back to cleaning toilets.